Why is everybody still talking about a recession in 2023? Well, don't worry, we know that not everyone is business savvy. However, our mission with this channel is precisely that. To teach you all of those fancy terms that most people ignore in the easiest possible way. Sometimes, they are not as scary as they sound. In simple words, a recession is nothing more than a period of economic decline in which most productive areas are affected. This could be due to a number of reasons. I want you to remember 2008. Yes, that obscure time when you, or maybe your parents, were laid off. It was a terrible time for a lot of people in America. Basically, because most of them at the time had very poor financial literacy. Something crucial happened back then, and it just happened last year again. For the first time in years, the yield curve inverted. This is significant because the past 7 yield curve inversions have accurately predicted the last 7 recessions dating all the way back to 1970, and it preceded the recession by at least 6 months or more. In case you don't know, the 10-year minus 3-month Treasury yield spread is the difference between the 10-year and the 3-month Treasury rate. To put it in the simplest of words, imagine you have a lemonade stand, and you sell lemonade for 25 cents a cup. And let's say your friend also has a lemonade stand, but he sells his lemonade for 50 cents a cup. Now, imagine that lots of people want to buy your lemonade, but not many people want to buy from your friend's stand. So, even though yours is cheaper, you're actually making more money than your friend because you're selling way more cups. The same thing can happen with borrowing and lending money. When lots of people want to borrow money, they're willing to pay a higher interest rate to get it. When not as many people want to borrow money, lenders might have to lower the interest rate they charge to make sure they can still find people who want to borrow from them. An inverted yield curve happens when the interest rate that people are willing to pay to borrow money for a short period of time, like 3 months, is higher than the interest rate that people are willing to pay to borrow money for a long period of time, like 10 years. It's kind of like if your friend was selling lemonade for 50 cents a cup, but suddenly, everyone stopped buying his lemonade and started buying yours for 25 cents a cup instead. It would be a big change in what people want to buy, and it could mean that something big is happening with the economy. Of course, instead of focusing on the cause, we want you to be prepared and think about the things you can do during these times. Thankfully, the information is available now more than ever so that you can be one step ahead. You also know that a recession can potentially be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to become wealthy. Throughout this video, we'll dive into some of the things wealthy individuals do to stay ahead of the curve during difficult times. Do not forget to subscribe so you keep us by your side in the face of any adversity as your allies, and make sure to watch until the end for an extra tip that will blow you away. Tip number 1. Stay out of debt. The best advice we can give you is not to fall into the endless pit of debt. Getting into debt during a recession is like selling your soul to the devil. It will only make recovery a much longer and more difficult process. It's like falling into a booby trap, and instead of climbing out, you are digging yourself further to the bottom. The less additional expenses you have, the sooner you will rebuild. And even if you have the possibility to pay off some of the debts you already have, that would be a great help so you can breathe easy again. Tip number 2. Reduce expenses. No more unnecessary purchases. No more going out to restaurants. No more cigarettes or candy. Generally, additional expenses are unnecessary in most cases, as they only unbalance the initial budget that was counted on and now become more holes and gaps that will have to be covered at some point. It is time to start saving and value every penny you have and what is to come. This way, you save a little money and your quality of life and lifestyle will not be affected that much. Tip number 3. Look for extra money. Any help at this time is very important. So, it's time to diversify your sources of income. Dust off that old guitar that's been sitting for years in your attic and sell it on eBay. We both know you're not likely to ever play it again. An additional job will always be a good way to lighten the load a little, and if you see that there are other possibilities that can also give you money, it will also be a good idea. The important thing is not to depend on a single source of income. Who knows, maybe this new idea will become a great project in the future. As time goes by, you can strengthen and turn it into a new business model that could be that great millionaire idea you've always been wishing for. Tip number 4. Keep moving forward. As hard as it sounds and as much work as it takes, the key is not to let this monster win. Fight to beat the recession as much as you fight your urge to order food at midnight. Of course, it is completely understandable that during moments of crisis it is necessary to cry, curl up in a fetal position, suck your thumb, and yell rolling on the floor for your mommy. But after the crying is comforted, you must get up, dust yourself off, take a deep breath, and start focusing on the solutions and not the problems. Changing the mindset will give you a clearer, more realistic objective and confident projection of how you should act from now on. Temperance in the face of the storm will determine how strong you are and how much you are able to endure. Staying focused and standing firm is the best weapon. Tip number 5. Realize that the future is today. With all the technological advances, making money has never been easier than it is today. You can simply pick up your cell phone or laptop and use it as your new gold pot. During these hard times, it is not the strongest that wins, but the smartest. Use your brain as a double-edged sword and take advantage of all your knowledge to apply it to investment strategies and active income markets. Many people think that in a recession you should sell, but in reality this is the best time to go shopping. Stock prices typically fall so much that you can go through with your shopping cart to pick them up and then sell them not only for double or triple, up to 10 times or more the price at which you initially bought them. Investing in this type of market, besides being innovative and visionary, also establishes a safer way to save money and preserve it for the future. Remember that the wealthiest of individuals are made before, during, and after recessions. Bonus tip: prepare an emergency fund. Now that you know the best ways to survive the recession, it is time to start preparing an emergency fund to cover such scenarios in the future. You can never be too cautious. And, as your grandma has always told you, better safe than sorry. An emergency fund will be your lifeline in critical situations, thus also saving you the torment of falling into a loan or a new debt. If you do not already have a proper emergency fund, and you want to start one but have no idea how to go about it, you can start by setting a goal for the amount of money you want to add to it each month. And since we know that these are difficult times, here is an additional bonus tip. Extend small improvements. When it comes to living through a recession, it is expected that everything will be a problem. But even after the darkest night, there is always a light. There is peace within the chaos, and that is what you have to hold on to. As soon as you notice any improvement, even if it is tiny and everyone around you thinks it is ridiculous, embrace that little push and make it your best friend and soulmate. Knowing how to take advantage of opportunities effectively and appropriately, even if they are small, is of great help and relief when crises arrive. You never know, maybe if you miss a little help, you could be throwing away the chance you needed to get out of the hole. No opportunity is small enough if it pushes you up. And that little support you receive could turn into a great springboard to success. Because do not forget that success is the result of all those small goals that you at some point achieved. The recession does not necessarily have to be the monster of your nightmares. You can take those weaknesses and transform them into opportunities so you can work with them and stop taking steps backwards. The future is now. And to keep you preparing for the future, we made a video with the essential life hacks anyone should know in their 20s. Because you never know what could happen. Check it out by clicking right here.